Hi, have a good day. Today our guest is Joost Lagendijk. Mr. Lagendijk is a former Green Left member of the European Parliament and the former chairman of the Turkey-EU parliamentarians delegation. He also served as a chairman of this delegation from 2002 until 2009. He was also a senior advisor at the Istanbul Policy Center at Sabancı University from 2009 until 2012. And lastly, he was a columnist with the Turkish daily Zaman and Today Zaman until the shutdown of these two dailies last year. So welcome, Mr. Lagendijk.
Thank you very much.
So today we will discuss the ongoing diplomatic tension between Turkey and the Netherlands. Mr. Lagendijk knows Turkey very well, and at the moment he is based in the Netherlands, in Utrecht. So my first question is the following. As I said, you know this country very well. You lived here many years, and as the chairman of the Turkey-EU parliamentarians delegation, you have worked closely with various Turkish politicians for many years. And also you and your party have been one of the most prominent supporters of Turkey's EU accession. But considering all these, are you surprised with the recent developments, and how do you feel about the recent escalations of tensions between Turkey and Netherlands and other EU countries?
Let me start by saying that I'm very unhappy with what is happening between Turkey and the Netherlands right now, but I'm not really surprised because I think what we have been witnessing is what I would say is a clash of two election campaigns. Mm-hmm. What do I mean by that? I think, as you know very well, in Turkey, President Erdogan is looking for a yes vote in the April 16 referendum. That's a very tight race in Turkey, and that's why he needs all the votes he can get in Europe, from Dutch Turks, from German Turks, from Belgian Turks. So we can see that over the last couple of weeks, he has sent a lot of ministers, Turkish ministers, to campaign for a yes vote in the Netherlands, in Germany, in Austria, in France, in order to get these votes because he needs them. Now, Turkey knows very well that in several countries, like in the Netherlands, this is a controversial issue. It is a controversial issue because most politicians in the Netherlands don't agree with Mr. Erdogan. They don't approve of his plans in the referendum, and they are afraid that having a minister here making a speech will could lead to riots or demonstrations in their country. Mr. Erdogan knows this perfectly well, and still he is sending these ministers abroad because he is looking for a confrontation. He is looking for a conflict. As we all know, Mr. Erdogan is at his best when there is controversy, when there is a conflict with a country between Turkey and another country, and he profits from that in the domestic campaign. One can see that he has been blaming the Dutch and the Germans, calling them fascists and Nazis. This is all to strengthen his support for the yes vote inside Turkey. Now, that's the Turkish side of the story. In the Netherlands, there's also an election campaign. We will have national parliamentary elections tomorrow. And that means that when the Turkish minister asked if he could come to the Netherlands, many Dutch politicians were afraid that the minister coming to the Netherlands would be used by Mr. Wilders. Mr. Wilders is a radical right populist, anti-Turkish, anti-Muslim, anti-Islam politician, and they were afraid that he would use it to strengthen his campaign for the elections in the Netherlands. And that's why all the other political parties decided that it was not a good thing for the Turkish minister to come, because they didn't want to hand over a present to Mr. Wilders. That's what happened, and that's the reason why we have this strong confrontation between Turkey, Erdogan, who wants to profit from this to strengthen his position inside Turkey, and on the Dutch side, we have politicians who are afraid that if a Turkish minister would come here, Mr. Wilders would profit from that. If you ask me, was it correct of the Dutch to react like this? I don't agree. I don't agree with the Dutch approach. I personally think that Mr. Çavuşoğlu should have been allowed to speak in the Netherlands last Saturday. He has freedom of speech as well, even if we don't like what he's saying. But he has the right to say so in the Netherlands. If he would have come, he would have made his speech and he would have returned home. I don't think that would have been the problem. But as I said, Dutch politicians were afraid that if Çavuşoğlu would be here, it would be Mr. Wilders, the populist anti-Turkey politician, who would try to benefit from this. And that's why they banned Mr. Çavuşoğlu and the Minister of Family Affairs, Fatma Kaya, to come to the Netherlands.
So you agree with a lot of commentators who argue that this is not an organic diplomatic crisis, but a crisis that's created based on a crisis that's created to give a message to domestic politics.
On both sides.
On both sides, yeah.
Yes, it was I think provoked by Turkey, by Erdogan, by sending his ministers, knowing that it was a controversial issue. But he wanted to profit from it, and at the same time, on the Dutch side, it was a domestic electoral issue as well. That's why we are here, and that's why I also think that after tomorrow, when the elections are over in the Netherlands, you will see that the Dutch side will calm down and will be more flexible. And my guess is that after April 16, also Turkey will be less aggressive towards the Netherlands and towards Germany, because they basically need Germany and the Netherlands to invest in Turkey, to send their tourists to Turkey. So this is a temporary crisis caused by the elections in the Netherlands and by the referendum in Turkey.
So you don't think this tension will have a long effect, like a serious impact on the bilateral relations between two countries, right?
No, I don't think so. When one looks at the sanctions that Kurtulmuş yesterday announced, these are purely diplomatic tensions. For instance, the Dutch ambassador to Turkey is not allowed in the country. There are some other measures as well, but these are not very strong sanctions. And that is for one reason. I mean, Turkey would shoot in its own foot if it would start having economic or financial sanctions towards the Netherlands. It would quickly become a row between Turkey and the whole of the European Union, and that is something that the Turkish economy simply cannot afford. So this is a temporary row. I guarantee you that after April 16, this will die down very quickly.
And yesterday there was an op-ed published in Washington Post titled "Enemies with Benefits," and in this article, the writer argued that this tension will enable President Erdogan to boost the yes votes in the April referendum and Geert Wilders to boost his own party's votes. Do you think these tensions will have this effect?
I definitely agree with the effect in Turkey. One can see that Erdogan does his utmost to keep creating this tension, even today accusing the Dutch of killing 8,000 Muslims in Srebrenica in Bosnia. So he's looking for a confrontation with the Netherlands, and that will go on until April 16. And this has one purpose only, that is to unite Turkey behind him, behind the yes vote. And that's why I'm so sad about this confrontation as well, because I think the biggest victim of this whole diplomatic tension are the no votes in Turkey, who already had a hard time campaigning and now are being put in the corner of the anti-Turkish people who are not patriotic. They should unite behind the president. So this is a very clever campaign, one can say, by Erdogan to strengthen his own position and to weaken the no vote. On the Dutch side, though, I think, and one can see that in the first polls, opinion polls coming out after the weekend, one can see that the main beneficiary of this situation is the Prime Minister, Mr. Rutte. Because Mr. Rutte has shown himself to the Dutch audience as a strong leader, willing to stand up to Mr. Erdogan, and that is appreciated by at least part of the electorate. So Mr. Rutte profited from this confrontation. Mr. Wilders to a certain extent, but not as much as the Prime Minister.
I see. And we've seen that these tensions starting with Germany and then spreading to the Netherlands. Do you think that this spread will continue? Do you think we need to expect more tensions between Turkey and other EU countries?
I think that would be the preferred scenario of Mr. Erdogan. He would love to see more confrontations in other countries. But you know, other countries are not stupid. They have seen what happened in the Netherlands, and one can already see how France reacted. France, they allowed Çavuşoğlu to come to France to make a speech before an audience and without demonstrations, and then to return to Turkey. So one can see that other European countries like France, but also Germany, have done, according to me, a more clever job. They don't forbid Turkish ministers to come, but they say that they should adapt to the local situation, which is one of the reasons why, for instance, in Germany, we have seen some meetings being banned, but other meetings being allowed. So I think none of the other European countries will take such a strong position as the Netherlands, because they don't have elections coming up, so there is no need to be so tough, and because they see that once you enter into a row with Mr. Erdogan, it will be him who will profit from that, and it will be bad for the relations in Denmark or in Germany or in France. So I don't think we will see a similar row again, because the other countries in Europe are more clever than the Dutch government was.
Okay, Mr. Lagendijk, I have one last question. You, as the former chairman of Turkey-EU parliamentarians delegation, you have actively worked in Turkey-EU accession negotiations, and like 10-15 years ago, many people both in Turkey and Europe were very hopeful about Turkey's accession, but now at this point we are very far away for those hopeful times. So I wonder, like, what do you think? What has changed in these 10-15 years? What happened?
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, I have to agree with you. Compared to 15 years ago or even 10 years ago, the situation has deteriorated, has gone from bad to worse. And this really makes me very sad, because I would still love to see Turkey become a member of the EU, because I think it's not only good for Turkish economy, but also good for Turkish democracy. But unfortunately, we are not in that position these days. What I expect, to be honest, is that at a certain moment, Turkey, Mr. Erdogan himself, will come up with a proposal to stop negotiating about membership now, at least for the foreseeable future, and focus the relations between EU and Turkey on the customs union. You remember the customs union between Turkey and the European Union is from 1995. It's very important for Turkish economy. I think at the moment it's being updated, it's being modernized, and my guess is that maybe even this year we will see that the negotiations about membership will be replaced by a new customs union, because that would mean that Turkey and the European Union keep very close economic ties, but as I said, unfortunately, the prospect of membership at the moment is not there. Maybe in the foreseeable future, but not this year or not next year. Things have changed in Europe because of the financial crisis, because of the rise of populism, the rise of Islamophobia in certain countries in Europe, and in Turkey, of course. After 2010, 2011, also Mr. Erdogan has given up, basically, on the EU. So on both sides, the willingness to compromise, the willingness to go forward has gone. And that's why I think a new customs union is probably the best we can get at this moment in time.
Okay, Mr. Lagendijk, thank you very much for your participation.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you, you too.
Today our guest was Dutch politician Joost Lagendijk, and with Mr. Lagendijk, who knows Turkey very well, we have discussed the ongoing tension between the Netherlands and Turkey. Thank you for having watched us.